Okay. Diddy got warrants in Illinois too? Hey, man. Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, you know what? Let me do this here. 1 second, guys. There's that. You know what I'm going to do? For everybody that just walked in here, give me a few minutes here. I want to get caught up on the Diddy case here, right? Y'all don't mind. I just want to take a quick detour. Real fast here. Let me go ahead and pull some of this Diddy information really fast. Y'all don't mind, do y'all? Can you, before I go on to the next janky ass video, right? I just want to know a little bit more about Diddy. Okay, so let me just pull up a little bit more about this raid here, guys. Give me 1 second. I just want to hear something here. Why? Because I don't feel like waiting to 9 o'clock at night.
Raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. Let's bring in CNN security correspondent Josh Campbell and CNN legal analyst Joey
Lights
Jackson.
up, fair use.
Josh, let me start with you. What do these raids by federal agents in multiple locations tell you about the seriousness of this investigation?
Yeah, Wolf, a very significant development here, seeing this law enforcement action taking place. I'll point out, just to be clear at the outset, we don't know that Sean Diddy Combs himself is the subject or target of a federal investigation. So it's just worth pointing that out at this hour. But what we do know is that 2 properties associated with him, we saw the feds descend on those properties. We saw in aerial footage, federal agents both here in the Los Angeles area as well as in Miami at those residences. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, their what's called HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, gave CNN a statement. I'll read you part of that when asked about what this activity is. They say that earlier today, HSI New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. That is it, confirming that they are conducting what they're deeming law enforcement action, which could indicate search warrants being conducted there, could indicate arrests being conducted. We just don't know at this hour specifically what that law enforcement action is. It is worth pointing out, though, that Combs himself obviously has faced significant legal woes in recent months. I'll give you just a kind of the highlights of what actually occurred. In November, he was sued for rape and abuse by a former partner. That lawsuit was then settled very quickly. But in December, he faced sexual assault allegations in a complaint filed in the Southern District of New York. The suit was brought by a woman referred to as Jane Doe, who said that she was 17 at the time when these allegations took place. And back in 2003, he was accused of sex trafficking and gang rape, among other allegations. Also in that suit, naming 2 of his associates. Of course, Combs denied any wrongdoing there. And then just last month, a former employee of Combs filed a suit also in the state of New York, accusing him of sexual assault, of sexual harassment, and, quote, grooming. That former employee stated that he had worked for Combs between 2022 and 2023. Among those allegations, this former employee, a male employee, said that Combs did not compensate him for his music production work and forced him to procure and interact with sex workers, threatened him with serving alcoholic beverages laced with drugs to guests at parties at Combs' home. And then Combs' son, Justin Combs, was also accused of soliciting prostitutes and underage girls at his father's homes. Again, the Combs have denied any wrongdoing. But
whoa, guys. I'm glad I got into this now. I'm glad I didn't wait till after the stream here. One good pick. Yo, they got Diddy's son in the business here. They got Justin Combs out here in the warrants, guys. This ain't just Diddy, y'all. It's a family affair. It's a family affair.
It's a series of allegations that we've seen taking place. Final point, Wolf, I'll note is that while we don't know the specific allegations or why the feds are at these residences, it is worth pointing out the agency that is conducting this law enforcement activity. It's not the FBI. It's not the DEA or the ATF. This is HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. For those unfamiliar, this is an agency that has long been the forefront, specifically at human trafficking investigations. So although we don't have the specifics yet, we're starting to we can glean just based on which agency has the lead, the direction this might go. But again, we don't yet know that Combs himself was the target of the investigation, Wolf. We do know at this hour that federal agents were at 2 of his homes, both here in Los Angeles and in Florida, Wolf.
Yeah, important points. Joey Jackson, now let me repeat, we don't know if Sean Diddy Combs himself is under investigation, but clearly, Joey, it's not good if your homes are actually being raided.
No, it's not, Wolf. And I think
Allegedly, to Orlando,
whatever conclusion
allegedly
can be drawn remain to be seen, right? There's not an indictment that we're talking about. That means that we're not speaking of a grand jury having rendered a conclusion, not as to guilt. That's not what grand jurors do, but as to reason to believe that a crime was committed and he committed them. Having said that, whenever you have a raid and an investigation, these things need to be really predicated upon, right? The precursor for this to happen would be some probable cause. What is that probable cause? We don't know. But let's go back to what Josh Campbell talked about, which are those various lawsuits. Now, lawsuits are civil actions in nature. They're not criminal at all. But what they do is they give authorities some guidelines and guideposts with respect to alleged conduct that was engaged in, with regard to who it was engaged in, what activities there were, what it involved. And so that, if there's an investigation, could serve as a source of plentiful information. That information could be further investigated, right, by certainly this Homeland Security Agency. And as a result of that, they can work with their local law enforcement partners. What does that mean? It means that they collectively, law enforcement, try to determine whether there's reason to believe that crimes were committed, and, were those crimes carried out and associated in any way we don't know, with Sean Combs. And so that remains to be seen. But before authorities, Wolf, can get into the home or property of anyone, you have to establish some firm basis to do that. And that is what at least we can conclude, that they had reason to believe that there were crimes involving sex trafficking, apparently, and that these areas potentially can give more information with respect to the specifics. And I think they would be looking for computer devices and other devices which would seem to indicate or give information as to whether there was any criminality very early in the process. But certainly we know that these have been carried out, and we'll see what, if any, information is gleaned to be suggestive of any criminality.
Now, I just want to say something here, guys. I'm not a legal expert here, right? But we as adults all know, get back to the video in a second, let the news state their business. But whenever the feds come knocking, and they're not trying to sell you no Girl Scout cookies, and they're not Jehovah's Witnesses trying to push a watchtower or a Bible track on you, you in trouble. All right. We may not know all the details yet, but the feds don't raid multiple houses unless they got damaging evidence. And basically, this is just a curtain call right now. This is just a formality because they got what they needed. But this is just what they do for the news. In reality, guys, if there was no news or no TV broadcast, the feds would do what they want to do here, but they got to put on a show. Because they know they got information. Whether if Diddy's going to be dead to rights or they're going to make Diddy me sing about getting someone else dead to rights, they got something on him. So when they didn't raid just one property, they raided 3 properties. So just know he ain't a whole world of hurt here. And just like T. Orlando said, hey, man, Cassie opened the floodgates, because when he paid her less than 24 hours later, it was like 24 or 36 hours later, man, it just gave the green light for everybody else to go ahead and pounce on him straight, no Diddy. So let's continue, guys. Let's see what else the news is saying.
Very interesting. Josh, let me get back to you. You know the FBI very well. Under what circumstances would raids like these be conducted?
Well, this would require, if it is indeed a search that's being conducted, it would require federal officers, in this case with Homeland Security investigations, going to a judge and seeking a warrant indicating that we believe that evidence of a crime could be located in these residences. And then this third party, an independent judge, has to approve that warrant. And then you see take place what's happening now on our screen. I particularly want to focus on, you see that large RV-looking vehicle there. This is the mobile command post that federal agencies will send whenever they're going to be somewhere, likely for a long time. I mean, if you look at these residences, we're talking about very large estates. And so, as Joey was mentioning, something as simple as a thumb drive or anywhere where
you ain't gonna get out clean if you're dirty, though.
Stored. If it's on that warrant, authorities can search that residence top to bottom, looking for any type of device, any type of storage mechanism that fits within the 4 corners of that search warrant. Now, again, I'll caution, we don't know specifically why they were there. it does tell us, I think, that, just because you see that large posture of all of these federal vehicles that are there, including this mobile command post, this was likely not something as simple as an arrest where you show up and you find a person that you're seeking, but likely more along the lines of a search warrant, which falls in line with what HSI told us in that statement when they say law enforcement actions. That's something that we often hear from federal agents as a euphemism for conducting some type of search. But again, both of these residences, both where I am here in LA, it's just a few miles here from the CNN LA bureau where this search is taking place. Also
two bad
in Miami,
words.
you see this large cadre of federal agencies descending on those homes. Again, the big question now, what are they looking for? We're waiting for specifics on that as this search continues.
And Joey, video also shows heavily armed agents entering Diddy's home. How unusual is that?
They armed.
So it's not unusual. I mean, I think that
heavily
what law
armed, y'all.
enforcement does is
They brought
the
gats out
of themselves, potentially to deter any type
Got
of
the SWAT team out.
Activity that could
come out
occur of a
busted.
criminal variety. Not that there would be any, but you never know. And so as a result of that, once they're armed, not only armed literally, but armed with respect to a warrant, that would suggest that they have reason to be there, that there's criminality that would be afoot, potentially, they go, law enforcement does, and they make sure that the area is secure such that they can get any information from that warrant so that they can continue to investigate. Very important to note, Wolf, that these are investigative stages. Warrants are typical in any type of investigation, right? This is the United States of America. Everyone has rights, but you don't get into someone's home without establishing that there may be some what we call indicia of criminality.
If he'd already got offshore money to Orlando, he could have had that done like 10 years ago.
Connection with this search. And if that search bears fruit with respect to any potential criminality on any computer devices, any cell phone devices, thumb drives or anything else, then they will connect the dots. And if it's appropriate, they'll move to the next level. And that could lead to something more serious. Again, all speculation at this point, but we know now that they certainly had enough information to be in California and Miami. What stems from that remains to be seen.
All right, Joey Jackson, Josh Campbell, to both of you, thank you very, very much.
All right, guys, thank you for that little break there for my regularly scheduled program there. I just need to, man, I was getting, guys, throughout the whole, this whole stream here, I've been getting text messages. Cats are hitting me up. Yo, Dave, man, you gonna talk about Diddy? I'm online right now. I'm live streaming right now. Oh, my bad, Dave. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do a breaking exercise. I wanted to find out. So here's one thing we know. Like T. Orlando said, the human trafficking aspect of it there. We don't know everything, what those counts are, what they got on there. Also, too, Diddy's son. Yo, they got his son Justin Combs in the mess here, too. Father and son are in the case. Okay. They got papers on both of them here. And number 3, I want to point out here, it's all started off because of Cassie. And you want to know something here? This probably could have been avoided with all the dick mannequins that went on, guys. I know allegedly, but think about it. Do you think that Cassie went public first, or Cassie went on the low and was trying to negotiate with Diddy before her lawyers and everything got the news to make it go public? And then once we heard about the public and we heard Diddy paid in 24, 36 hours, like the case came out like on a Wednesday night and then Cassie had the funds in her account by Friday morning. You know, right? That's what I was saying here to Orlando. That's what got me. That's why I was just bringing this up here, because we know that the lawyers probably say, "Hey, Diddy, we got some on you. Go ahead and cut the check now. We're gonna go public." And you know what Diddy probably said? "Man, I don't care who you are, Cassie. You should have got that money like 5 years ago when we broke up. Take that." And what happened when it went public? And then when he paid so fast, I bet every single person who had just a little bit of drool in their mouth, who was just a little bit hungry. You know what I'm saying? They ain't eating a minute. You know what I mean? It's hard out here in these streets. You know what I mean? People out here grinding out here. You know what I mean? So next thing you know, people and their mom's going to come out. Who knows what people may have had regular evidence and probably said they couldn't do nothing because like Diddy's too powerful. My little evidence can't do nothing. And next thing you know, the law enforcement, Johnny Law, is like, if you got something, bring it to us. And people just dropping dimes left and right. Anonymous sources. Cassie got her burner phone. How the hell? I'm still trying to figure out here. How in the hell did Cassie have Kim Porter's cell phone still? How does she even have Kim Porter's phone? Like, if y'all know, Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-baby mama. She died a few years ago. And Cassie claims that through her lawyer, that they have a phone with that's Kim Porter's of a whole bunch of stuff on there. Clifton says, when you record your freakiness, this can happen. It only works one way, when you own the tapes. Man, Upward says, O'Shea made some good points about the case and how people perceive Cassie versus all the other women that had issues. Well, at the time when Cassie had dropped it, the timing was kind of off. But you know what though? Here's the thing, guys. Time waits for no man. And when you're up, you are up. And if you've done some dastardly things and the evidence is there, there's none you can do when you've exhausted all your resources and time. Because Diddy probably been dealing with this for so many years, been boxing, had enough money to fight people off, pay people off, throw things under the rug. And sometimes, guys, when you keep sweeping things under the rug, that rug's going to get filled up with a whole bunch of junk. And eventually, that junk's going to come out that rug, right? You can't sweep things under the rug forever. You're going to have to take out that garbage eventually. And the problem was the garbage ain't being taken out. So you know what happens? Boom. But here's the thing, though. A lot of things allegedly right now. We don't know everything that's popping up, but the one thing that we do know, they raided 3 houses. And they were heavily armed, which means they brought the show to say, we got you, Diddy. It's going down. They're not showing up with their notepads and pencils saying, hey, Sean Combs here. Hey, Sean, we got to do our due diligence. Here we go. Do you mind we come in and check something out? No, this is the show now. And now, Diddy, you're on the clock. All right. And you don't even have the full 24-second shot clock in the NBA. You're at the point right now where the ball's out of bounds and they start the clock at 14 on the shot clock. When if it's under the 24-second clock, he don't got a full 24-second shot clock now. He under 14 seconds now. Shout out to y'all, man. Yeah. Vince says his account was frozen yesterday. We know Diddy got multiple accounts. They frozen some accounts, but Diddy is, if the man like that, he got accounts on top of accounts. You know what I mean? But I'd be upset though if any account gets frozen, guys. Yeah. You can only